The air was thick with tension as the engagement ceremony began. Viker stood on the side, heart heavy, while Nuru, her sister, smiled brightly in the spotlight. As the rings were exchanged, Viker couldn't help but feel like her entire world was crumbling. Little did she know, what was about to unfold would change everything, and none of them would ever be the same. Viker had always been the driven one, ambitious and focused on her career. She found her heart in Lamine, her boyfriend of 5 years. Their love story was the kind everyone admired, steady, real, and full of shared dreams. Lamine, with his kind eyes and gentle nature, had always been her rock. They had been through thick and thin together, and their bond only grew stronger. It wasn't just love, it was a partnership. So when Lamine proposed to her one evening under the stars, Viker's heart soared. He had promised her forever, and she was ready to say yes. With a beautiful engagement ring on her finger, they set the date for their celebration, planning everything down to the smallest detail. The future was bright, and they were excited to start this next chapter of their lives together. However, there was one person who seemed to have an opinion on everything: Viker's younger sister, Nuru. While Nuru pretended to support the relationship, she often made offhand comments that didn't sit right with Viker. "Are you sure you're ready for this? You've got so much ahead of you," she would say, almost as if she was questioning the depth of Viker's commitment. Despite this, Viker brushed it off, thinking it was just Nuru's way of caring. After all, what could go wrong? They were about to embark on the happiest time of their lives, surrounded by love and celebration. Everything was perfect, or so it seemed. As the days went by, something started to feel off between Viker and Nuru. At first, it was small things. Nuru would make little remarks about how Viker was too focused on her career, or how she didn't have time for family any. Viker, not wanting to cause any tension, would just laugh it off. After all, she was busy planning the biggest day of her life. Her engagement to Lamine was just around the corner, and there was so much to organize. She was excited, but Nuru's words stuck with her. They weren't like her usual jokes. They felt sharp, almost like they were meant to hurt. But Viker couldn't figure out why. Everything was supposed to be fine. The more Viker threw herself into wedding plans, the more Nuru pulled away. She stopped showing up for family gatherings, and when she did, she seemed distant, almost cold. It was as if something had shifted. Viker tried to reach out, asking if everything was okay, but Nuru would just shrug it off, saying she was fine, or just busy. Viker told herself that maybe Nuru was just stressed out about the wedding. Maybe she was overwhelmed by the attention Viker was getting. She didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But then things took a strange turn. As the engagement date got closer, Nuru started spending more time with Lamine. At first it seemed innocent, just casual conversations here and there, but soon their interactions became warmer. Lamine, who had always been close to Viker, was now laughing and joking with Nuru, sharing stories that only the two of them understood. Viker noticed this more and more. She tried to ignore the sinking feeling in her stomach, but it was hard. Why was Nuru suddenly so close to Lamine? Why was she spending so much time with him and not with her? Viker couldn't shake the feeling that something was going on, but she pushed it away, telling herself that everything was fine. Little did she know, the storm that was brewing between the two sisters would soon shake her world to its core. The big day finally arrived, and Viker couldn't believe it. It was her engagement day, the day she had been dreaming about for months. She woke up with a mixture of excitement and nerves. Everything had to be perfect. This was the start of her forever with Lamine. She had spent so much time planning every detail, making sure nothing went wrong. Viker was ready to walk down the aisle to the love of her life, but as the morning went on, she felt a little anxious. There were still last-minute details to handle, but she was confident everything would work out. Nuru, her sister, had been acting a little distant, but today she seemed eager to help. She offered to handle some of the final touches, and Viker, trusting her sister, agreed. After all, Nuru had always been there for her. Viker let her take the reins, while she focused on getting ready, knowing that everything would fall into place. But just as Viker was settling into the excitement of the moment, her phone rang. It was her mother, and there was something urgent she needed to discuss. Viker stepped out of the venue to take the call, thinking it would only be for a few minutes. As she spoke to her mum, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right, but she brushed it off, thinking it was just nerves. When Viker returned to the venue, her heart stopped. The room was silent as she walked in. There, at the altar, stood Nuru, radiant, beautiful, and wearing the biggest smile. Beside her was Lamine, who looked confused, his eyes darting back and forth between Nuru and the guests. Viker's stomach dropped as she tried to make sense of what was happening. Her sister was standing in her place, in the exact spot where Viker was supposed to be. It was a scene out of a nightmare, and Viker's mind raced, struggling to understand what she was seeing. Had she missed something? Was she being pranked? The shocking truth hit her like a ton of bricks, and in that moment, everything she thought she knew about love and family came crashing down. The silence in the room was deafening as Nuru stood there, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Everyone was staring at her in shock, unable to understand what was happening. Viker's heart raced, her legs felt weak, and her mind couldn't make sense of the scene unfolding before her. Nuru, her own sister, was standing at the altar, looking radiant, with Lamine by her side. But it wasn't just the sight of her sister in her place that left Viker frozen. It was the words that came next. Nuru, with a smug smile on her face, turned to the guests and began to speak. "I'm sure you're all wondering why I'm standing here instead of Viker," she said, her voice loud and clear, as if she had been waiting for this moment. Viker's heart skipped a beat. This couldn't be real. It couldn't be happening. But then Nuru's next words made everything worse. "I'm the one getting engaged to Lamini," Nuru announced, her voice steady, as if she was telling them the most normal thing in the world. Viker's world shattered. She felt her knees weaken, her breath becoming shallow as the pain hit her like a wave. Her sister, the one she had trusted all these years, was standing there with the man she loved. Viker couldn't process what was happening. How could this be real? How could Nuru do this to her? And then came the crushing words that would forever haunt her. "Lamine and I have been seeing each other secretly. He chose me instead of you." The room went deathly quiet. It felt like time had stopped. Viker's chest tightened, and tears began to well up in her eyes. But she couldn't bring herself to cry. The shock was too much. She was standing there in front of everyone, humiliated, her heart broken into pieces. She wanted to scream, to run away, but her body refused to move. Her mind was still trying to process the betrayal. How long had this been going on? How could Nuru, her own flesh and blood, do something so cruel? The guests murmured in disbelief, glancing between Viker and Nuru. Some were shocked, others were trying to make sense of the situation. But Viker stood still, her whole world crashing down around her. The pain, the confusion, the betrayal, it was too much to handle. Everything she thought she knew about love, family and trust had just been shattered in front of everyone. Viker couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears poured down her face as she turned and ran out of the venue, her heart feeling like it was being ripped apart. She didn't care who was watching. The guests, the whispers, the stares. None of it mattered now. All she could feel was the deep pain of betrayal. Her own sister, Nuru, and the man she loved with all her heart, Lamine, had destroyed her in front of everyone. Every step she took away from that place felt heavy, like she was carrying the weight of her broken heart on her shoulders. She found herself in a quiet street, far from the noise of the celebration that wasn't meant for her anymore. She sank to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Why? Why would they do this to me? She whispered through her tears. Her mind was spinning. Nuru, her own blood, had stolen the man she loved, and Lamine, the one who promised her forever, had chosen her sister instead. The pain was sharp, and it cut deeper with every thought. As Viker cried, her mind began to replay everything. She started to remember all the little moments that she had ignored. The times when Nuru made strange comments about her being too busy with work. The moments when Lamine seemed distant. The secret glances between them that she thought meant nothing. Now it all made sense. She had been too trusting, too blind to see what was happening right in front of her eyes. She blamed herself. Was it her fault for believing too much in people, for loving too deeply? The questions tore at her soul. She thought about how her sister's envy had slowly taken away everything she held dear. Her love, her happiness, her trust. Viker felt like she had nothing left. The pain of betrayal was worse than anything she had ever known. She hugged her knees tightly, crying harder as she felt completely alone in the world. The people she trusted the most had turned against her, and now she was left picking up the pieces of her shattered heart. Every tear that fell was a reminder of her pain, and every breath she took felt heavy with sadness. Viker didn't know how she would move forward, but in that moment, all she could do was cry and let the pain out. The news of what happened at the engagement spreads fast. Before the day even ends, the whole family knows about it. Everyone is talking, and the house is filled with whispers and arguments. Some people can't believe what Nuru did, while others are just too shocked to say anything. Viker's mother, instead of comforting her heartbroken daughter, tries to make excuses for Nuru. She says, "A woman must do what she needs to do for love. Maybe this was meant to be." Her words sting Viker even more, like adding salt to her open wound. How could her own mother try to make this betrayal sound normal? But Viker's father is not having it. He is furious. His face turns red with anger as he shouts at everyone. He can't believe that his own daughter, Nuru, would do something so shameful. "This is a disgrace!" he yells, slamming his hand on the table. The tension in the house gets thicker, and everyone feels the weight of the broken family bond. Viker, still shaking from everything, gathers her strength and decides to face Nuru directly. She finds her sister sitting calmly in her room, as if nothing had happened. With tears in her eyes and her voice trembling, Viker asks, "Why, Nuru? How could you do this to me? I trusted you. I loved you. You were my sister." She hopes for an apology, even a little guilt, but Nuru looks at her with cold eyes, without a drop of regret. She simply says, "I deserve happiness too, Viker. It's my turn now." Those words hit Viker like a slap. Her heart breaks all over again. There is no warmth, no love left between them. The sisterly bond they once shared is gone, replaced by bitterness and pain. The room feels cold, and Viker knows deep down that things will never be the same again. She turns away, her heart heavy, knowing that this betrayal has changed her family forever. Viker, even though her heart is broken into pieces, makes a big decision. She wipes her tears and tells herself, enough is enough. She knows she cannot stay in that pain forever. So she cuts all ties with Nuru and Lamine. She blocks their numbers, deletes their photos, and shuts the door on that chapter of her life. No more looking back. Now, it is time to focus on herself. Day by day, Viker throws all her energy into her career. She works harder than ever before. At first, it's not easy. The pain still lingers, but she keeps pushing forward. Slowly, she starts seeing results. She gets new clients, her ideas start working, and people begin to notice her talent. With every little success, her confidence grows stronger. Soon she gathers her savings and starts her own business. It is small at first, but Viker is determined. She stays up late, works early mornings, and refuses to give up. Her hard work pays off, and her business begins to grow fast. Customers love her service, and they keep coming back. Before long, Viker becomes known as a powerful and independent woman in her field. But Viker doesn't stop there. She knows the pain of betrayal, and she doesn't want other women to feel alone like she once did. So she starts sharing her story, how she was betrayed but refused to stay broken. Her words touch hearts. Women from everywhere begin to listen to her, feeling inspired by her strength. She becomes a voice for those who have been hurt, encouraging them to rise again. Viker starts hosting small talks and later bigger events, helping women rebuild their lives just like she did. Now, when people see Viker, they don't see a woman who was betrayed. They see a fighter, a queen who turned her pain into power. She has rebuilt her life beautifully, and her story becomes a light for others in darkness. Viker, once heartbroken, is now unstoppable. Months go by, and Viker's life is finally becoming peaceful again. She is busy with her business and her new, strong self. But one evening, at a big event she was invited to, something unexpected happens. As she walks through the crowd, she suddenly sees Lamine standing there. Her heart skips a beat, but not because she misses him. It's the shock of seeing the man who once broke her heart. Lamine rushes toward her, looking tired and sad. His eyes are filled with regret. He starts apologizing again and again, right there in front of everyone. He says, "Viker, I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. Please, listen to me." Viker stands still, her face calm but her heart guarded. Lamine then confesses something that shocks her. He says that ever since the engagement with Nuru, his life has been miserable. He hasn't found peace, not even for a single day. He admits that Nuru manipulated him, played with his mind, and made him choose her over Viker. He says he was weak and foolish, and now he's paying the price for it. Lamini's words pour out like a broken dam. He tells Viker that Nuru is no longer the sweet woman he thought she was. She has changed completely. In fact, she has already moved on and is now with another man. Lamin says he feels used and thrown away, and that the woman he left Viker for is not the person he thought he loved. His voice cracks as he says, "I lost the only woman who truly cared for me, and that's you, Viker." But Viker listens without a single tear this time. She is no longer the broken girl from months ago. She looks at Lamin, and inside her, there is no more pain, only strength. She realizes that his regret is his burden to carry, not hers. And in that moment, Viker knows that she has truly moved on. The tables have turned, and she is the one standing tall now. At the family reunion, Viker arrives with a calm but strong heart. She knows this won't be easy, but she wants to show that she has risen above all the pain. As she steps into the house, she feels the tension in the air. Some family members smile at her warmly, showing their support. Others look away or whisper, still taking Nuru's side. But Viker keeps her head high, refusing to let their stares affect her. Then, her eyes land on Nuru. She looks nothing like the proud and confident sister from before. Nuru stands alone in the corner, her face pale and tired, her eyes hollow. She looks weak, broken, and lost. The room grows quiet as everyone notices the heavy silence between the two sisters. Suddenly, Nuru's lips tremble and tears start rolling down her cheeks. In front of everyone, she falls to her knees and cries out, "Viker, I'm sorry. I destroyed everything. I let jealousy control me." The whole room gasps. No one expected this. Even those who supported Nuru look shocked and confused. Nuru continues, her voice shaking. She says she was always jealous of Viker, jealous of her success, her kindness, and the love she had with Lamin. She admits that her insecurity pushed her to do the unthinkable, to steal her sister's happiness just to feel better about herself. But now, after losing everything, her relationship with Lamin, her peace, and even her own respect, she finally sees the damage she caused. As Nuru sobs loudly, some family members start crying too. They never knew the truth ran this deep. Viker stands still, her heart heavy with emotions. She feels a wave of sadness, not because she still hurts, but because she sees how jealousy destroyed a family bond that was once so strong. The room stays silent, waiting to see what Viker will say or do next. As the room stays silent, Viker slowly walks toward her sister. Everyone watches, holding their breath. No one knows what she will do. Nuru is still on her knees, crying and shaking. For a moment, it feels like time has stopped. Then, in a move that surprises everyone, Viker bends down and pulls Nuru into a hug. Tears fill Viker's eyes too, but they are not tears of pain anymore. They are tears of release. The whole family breaks down in tears, touched by the powerful moment. Viker holds Nuru close and whispers, "I forgive you." Her voice is soft but firm. She says she is choosing peace over pain, love over hate. She tells everyone in the room that she is letting go of the past. No more bitterness, no more heartbreak. She stands up and looks around, announcing that she is stronger now, that her pain has shaped her into a woman who knows her worth. The family claps, some crying openly, feeling the weight of the long-hidden emotions being lifted. Viker then smiles, a real smile, the first in a long time. She tells them that she is moving forward. Her life is now full of love, success, and true happiness. She shares how she has built her own business, found joy in helping others, and discovered her inner strength. She is no longer defined by betrayal or heartbreak. Meanwhile, Nuru stays quiet, her face wet with tears. She knows she has a long way to go. She will have to rebuild her life and live with the lessons she has learned. But for the first time, she feels hope, knowing her sister has given her a second chance. As the reunion ends, the final image is Viker standing tall, her head held high, her heart free. She is a woman who lost everything but, in the end, gained something even more precious, herself.